Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James.
A swing and a drive to deep right, away back, goal! What? Cleveland! This is for you!
Touchdown, Ohio State. And Curry has to back off as James throws it down.
Miller is loose, spin move! Miller headed for the end zone!
Off initially, he's going to take a shot. Has some man under it. Has his man Kaiser. Perfectly thrown pass to Gordon. Touchdown, Cleveland.
All right, everybody, welcome on into a brand new edition of the Real Sports Talk Show. Like always, your wonderful host, Paul Jacobek. And, well, yeah, we have Kevin.
Wonderful's a bit strong, don't you think?
It is wonderful to have me, like always. So, ladies and gentlemen, big show today with my boy Kevin. We are getting into a little bit of some recap of the NFL Combine that happened over the weekend. All the top college players that are going to be entering into the draft next year made their way out to Indianapolis for the NFL Combine. And before we get into a little bit of the Combine, I would like to say one of the best things about the Combine that I always watch, guaranteed every year, I have to watch the 40s. And every year we see the same guy, the same Steeler coach sitting there doing the 40s. And it was phenomenal to see him, once again, like always, sitting there on his chair doing the 40s, telling people they got to restart, whatever it is. But he was not wearing just a regular Steelers shirt or jacket like he always does. He was wearing a brand new edition Ryan Shazier little tribute shirt that he was wearing to honor Ryan at the Combine, as many people still have Ryan Shazier after that very, very scary hit against the Bengals. And a lot of people showing him support. And we also just found out that Ryan Shazier and Malcolm Jenkins are going to be at Ohio State's spring game out this coming spring, whenever the Buckeyes actually have, I forgot what date that is, it actually is, but it was just nice to see some support going on for Ryan Shazier after that really scary hit, and that people are still showing it. Now, Rosser, the Combine. Big things happen at Combine. A lot of people judge the Combine. Some people say the Combine's not important. What'd you see out there this weekend?
Well, first, you hit the nail on the head that some people don't find the Combine important. I find it a mixed bag, because you get to see raw physical tools, you know, things like the 40-yard dash, vertical leap, broad jump, all these one-on-one drills,
right,
trying to simulate stuff. You don't get the full contact, the pad work like you get to see at things like the Senior Bowl.
Correct.
And all the other bowl games that happen, that you really get to judge game speed,
right,
against perhaps some tougher opponents. But my biggest takeaway is that, and I am one of those people that is completely buying in now, Saquon Barkley proved that he is the best athlete in this draft.
He looked phenomenal. Oh, yeah. He looked amazing in his Combine. And, you know, the Combine, like Rosser said, you're not hitting people, you're not doing this. But, my God, some of the stats that he put up compared to NFL players, you know, in either in his position or better. I mean, the guy had a better vertical than Julio Jones.
You compare his Combine work to his tape, not just this past season, but the season before, and it's hard to argue against taking him at number one, even if you don't have a quarterback.
I want him. I want him bad. After watching that Combine, he did more reps than Joe Thomas at the bench. There was a little thing about the bench that I would like to bring up later on, including a former Buckeye. Absolutely just terrible thing that happened at the Combine for him. I feel so bad for the guy. But like I was saying, Barkley looked phenomenal. He had a better vertical than Julio Jones. He did more bench press reps than Joe Thomas. And he had a faster 40. I forgot what the stat was. He had a better 40 than
Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell Beckham Jr. So right now, you clearly, you know, you go watch a highlight tape, they're going to show you all the best plays that the guy can do. They're going to show you his quick cuts. They're going to show you, because Saquon Barkley's got a great two-cut method. And I really think that everything that he brings to the table, you know, you watch the film, it's phenomenal. And what he did at the Combine, showing the raw talent that he still has and everything that he can bring to the table, I don't want to take anybody else other than him at number 1. Nobody else.
It really is a shame that we don't have a quarterback shored up, because let me transition into the quarterback portion of the combine. There were plenty of ups and downs from each prospect.
Correct.
But
Correct.
I think despite everything that did happen, the 2 biggest storylines that I'm taking away are that Sam Darnold did not throw.
I
and
don't
that
like
Lamar,
when quarterbacks don't.
And that Lamar Jackson did not run the 40.
I was surprised that he did not run the 40, but I understand why he did not run the 40. Running the 40 makes people say, well, you got the speed, go out to wide receiver. And he said time and time again he wants to be a quarterback in the league. Completely understand why he didn't run the 40. I don't like when quarterbacks do not throw at the combine. Quarterbacks do not throw at the combine because they say, well, I'll save it for their pro day, which I completely understand. But the thing is when you get to the NFL, you're not playing with the guys that you're used to playing with. You know, you're going into a brand new system. You're throwing to guys you've never even played before, seen before, whatever it is. And for people to go out there and say, well, I'm not going to throw, I think that's kind of bullcrap. I think what it is I think they're gun shy. I don't think that he's ready to step up because he's always had this thing where he doesn't look comfortable. And I think throwing at the combine really shows if you're comfortable or not at that position. And to see him not throw and then to see Lamar Jackson throw. Now, Lamar Jackson, we all know he's not the pocket quarterback. He's not the guy like a Tom Brady. He's not going to sit back there. He's not going to throw 50-yard bombs. But Lamar Jackson, he had some very good throws. And he had some throws where even Mike Mayock, who everybody respects Mike Mayock around the league, even he said, well, there's another duck. There's another duck. And I completely understand that. But for Sam Darnold to be one of the top quarterbacks in this draft and for him to not throw, I just don't agree with quarterbacks not throwing. I hate it.
And this is a very big leap for me to make, but I'm going to make it anyways. The last time that a quarterback was being touted as being either the number 1 or, in his case, number 2, I think he went. The last time that a quarterback did not throw at the combine who was being touted that highly was Jamarcus Russell.
He did not throw at the combine.
Did not.
He threw at his pro day, and he looked good.
Yes, he did.
He looked phenomenal.
Because he was throwing to receivers that he had played with LSU for years.
Yep. And he did not throw at the combine. I do remember that.
And that's not exactly going to say that Darnold will be a bust on that level.
No.
But it certainly doesn't speak well for him.
It definitely, if you want to say as a respect standpoint, I lost a little bit of respect because that just goes for any quarterback, though. I don't respect when a quarterback does not throw at the combine if you're supposed to be either a top quarterback or, a top 5 quarterback, whatever it may be. But who, other than Barkley, because we knew Barkley was going to kind of show out, who else caught your eye? Did anybody else catch your eye? Because I'll tell you right now, I was extremely impressed by the Buckeyes who did show up at the combine. Now, going back to the bench press story, the offensive lineman for Ohio State, was Billy Price last year or this year?
I believe he was last.
Was last year. Who's the one that went in this year? I cannot think of his name right now, but he won the Offensive Lineman of the Year. I can never remember the offensive lineman from Ohio State. But Offensive Lineman of the Year for the Buckeyes goes out, and he goes to do his bench press, and I think he got 2 reps in, and he ends up tearing his pectoral muscle. They said he will be ready for spring training, or not spring training, for training camp.
Actually, it was Billy Price.
It was Billy Price this year. Last year was, I forgot who last year was. So, yes, Billy Price did go down with a pectoral injury from Ohio State. He was projected as probably, I think he was listed in the top 5 linemen, maybe top 2 offensive linemen going into this draft.
SB Nation is saying as of yesterday or the day before that it is a minor pectoral injury.
He will be ready.
But the fact that he did show that slip up,
it sucks.
It does.
It really sucks.
It doesn't tell you the full story, but having that big stage to show your strength,
and you go down, that's not good.
It's
but
tough.
Anybody catch your eye this weekend? Anybody from some random schools? I know we had the huge story coming out of UCF with
Shaquem Griffin.
Right, with Griffin. Hell of a story. The guy's battling. He's got one hand.
Yes, and he was able to put up more reps than that offensive lineman from Oklahoma who completely completely shat the bed.
He's
to,
the one
to
who's
put it lightly.
he's what, 6? Isn't he like 6'5", 6'6"? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and huge things out of this guy last year, and nothing really happened last year in the actual season for him. He didn't really have that good of a year, and people said, well, he's going to come to the combine, tear it up, and he shit the bed. Oh, yeah. He was terrible.
But I did like what I saw from some defenders. Minkah Fitzpatrick, you knew he was going to put up good physical stats. Bradley Chubb, Marcus Davenport, a couple other guys that I really like that I feel could just add to the Browns in an immediate fashion. But there is one guy that people are very high on that I look at as mid-tier, mediocre at best. Everyone was praising Josh Allen for making these huge throws,
right,
for having this 80, 85, 90-yard arm.
Yeah, they're saying he had a cannon.
And people like to throw out these physical stats. Joe Flacco was throwing just as well coming out of college, too. Now, Joe Flacco is nothing to sneeze at. He is an NFL starting quarterback.
Has a Super Bowl.
He does have a Super Bowl, but that was mainly on the back of
their defense.
Phenomenal. And Anquan Bolden bailed him out in several games.
Jacoby Jones did too.
Jacoby Jones, Ray Rice, rest in peace to his career.
Yeah. It's over.
Yeah, I just don't see it. He has accuracy issues far worse than Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield or any of these other guys.
He didn't look crisp.
No,
he did not look crisp at all. That's for sure. And that's what sucks is the combine, especially for a guy like that. People like me raise questions all the time about a guy coming from a smaller school, and can he go up against top tier talent, Division I talent? And he was not throwing like how he looked when he was throwing at where was he at, Wyoming?
Yeah,
he did not look like he was at a Wyoming. He looked so confused. He looked lost. And I think what happened, Sam Darnold would have looked almost not comparable to that, but you could have definitely seen some resemblance. Josh Allen looked confused. He looked like he kind of the spot was too big for him.
Uh-huh.
I think Sam Darnold got scared. He didn't want to throw like that either, throwing to guys he's never thrown to. I think he was scared it was going to mess up his timing and everything like that. Where they even tell you, you throw what you want to throw, and you just let it rip. If the guy catches it, he catches it. You're throwing the route you're supposed to throw. And I think Sam Darnold kind of saw how he threw and was like, I just don't want to. I'm not built for this right now. I want to save everything for the pro day, and I want to show everybody at the pro day. Which all the same scouts that were at the combine will be at the pro day. But the pro day is just a dumbed down version of the combine. You're at your own complexes at your own school. You don't have all the bright lights. You don't have all the interviews, the media, everything like that. Everything's all dumbed down except for you have scouts there, you have GMs there, and a couple head coaches. So everything will come down to a little bit a dumbed down version, as I said. But other than that, anybody else? Catch your eye out there. I definitely was impressed by Denzel Ward. I thought Denzel Ward did a great 40. I thought he had a phenomenal. I think he had the best broad jump as a corner. In the defensive back class, I thought that was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I think all the top guys that we've talked about of the Browns drafting, like a Minkah Fitzpatrick, these Barkley, all those guys, I thought they all performed like they were supposed to. And honestly, I was kind of more watching the Buckeye guys more than top prospects that the Browns could get, because like we always know, we don't know how the NFL draft is going to pan out. But I was extremely impressed by all the Buckeyes that did make it out there. It did suck, like I said, about Price going down, but I thought it was a very good combine overall. Before we end the show today, we are going to talk a little bit about the offseason free agents. The Browns have been linked to many, many free agents. There was a couple stuff about maybe even going out making a trade for a Jarvis Landry. We've, of course, been connected with the Kirk Cousins debate. We've been connected with a lot of stuff. And now there's some stuff surfacing today. We actually had Michael Bennett from the Seattle Seahawks. We've all heard about his off-the-field issues. But he actually did get traded today. There was a rumor a couple days ago about him going to Atlanta. He was actually traded today for basically, nothing in a way.
I believe off the top of my head, I actually will be pulling it up right now. He was traded to the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles for a 5th-round pick and a backup wide receiver.
So nothing, basically. He got traded. And then we also had we have many reports actually that came out just within the past hour or so. Richard Sherman, everybody knows Richard Sherman. If you've watched football, you know Richard Sherman. He has actually been going around and telling Seahawk players goodbye. Richard Sherman is out of Seattle, and right now we don't know where he's off to. But but I should say he's not fully out.
I actually do think he will end up staying. That may come back to bite me, but I just don't see the Seahawks moving on from him just yet.
Not yet?
They'll probably want to get him into camp coming into the summer and the fall, seeing how he recovers from that Achilles tear.
Right.
But I think they'll give him one more shot this season to either put up or shut up, and then by the trade deadline, they might try to move him.
Try and move him off, get rid of the contract.
For some pieces, see what draft picks they can get from teams that aren't exactly in the hunt or are in the hunt, depending on what side of the spectrum the Seahawks end up next season.
Right. Now, before we end the show, who are some free agents, depending, now this is not including the draft, this is just free agent talk, say free agency ended tomorrow, who are you trying to bring in? Who do you think could fit in this team, fit with the scheme that we're running? Would you like to see a Jarvis Landry trade? Would you like to see them maybe go out and sign a Sam Bradford instead of drafting a quarterback? What's going through the mind of Kevin Rosser right now if you're in Berea?
If I'm in Berea, there are two facets that need to be addressed from the offensive standpoint in free agency that can be. You look at the offensive line, aren't that many big names that you could
Joe Thomas said he might be retiring.
That's the thing. You have to consider Joe Thomas's future in the draft and in free agency, but there aren't many big names that come up that can be acquired either through trade or at least have been talked about. Quarterback position, you have plenty of options out there. You have guys like A.J. McCarron. You have guys like Case Keenum.
I don't want A.J. McCarron.
Bradford.
I think A.J. McCarron is the next Matt Flynn.
That's.
Do you remember when Matt Flynn was the number one free agent signing that one year, goes to Seattle and lost his job to Travaris Jackson?
No, he lost his job to Russell Wilson.
Was it to Russell? I thought it was to Tavares, and then he lost it to Russell Wilson.
Well, either way.
Well, somehow they lost it.
If signing A.J. McCarron brings out a guy who gets drafted way later than he should, Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson sucks.
I'll take that if that's what it brings, to light a spark under somebody. But the other position that I'm looking at is wide receiver.
Okay.
And there are two big names, two number one receivers that have not been franchise tagged and will become free agents. Sammy Watkins is one, and with Jarvis Landry franchise tagged, there's another receiver from a Florida team that people aren't so high on, but I love, and that is Allen Robinson. You talk about Saquon Barkley being this huge guy from Penn State. Allen Robinson set a lot of records when he was at Penn State.
That is true.
And he was getting thrown to by Christian Hackenberg.
And Christian Hackenberg sucks.
Exactly. So we get any quarterback better than Christian Hackenberg, which is any quarterback that's on an NFL roster, and Colin Kaepernick.
Were you surprised to see them use the franchise tag on Marquise Lee instead of Allen Robinson, or because I was completely surprised. I thought Allen Robinson is a very, very good wide receiver. I think Marquise Lee is still a little bit too much raw talent compared, but Allen Robinson does have an injury bug. He does get injured a lot.
He just came off a season where he literally caught one pass and got injured after that catch.
I remember that too.
And he
fantasy football owners exploded when that happened. That was big when that happened.
I can see why they didn't tag him. They're going to try their best to re-sign him because they want to keep Blake Bortles with as many weapons around him as possible, which they just re-signed him to a big contract. But that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But if we can somehow finagle our way into one, if not both, of those guys, imagine the matchup problems we can cause.
Josh Gordon, Allen Robinson, and then
Sammy Watkins.
Wow.
You have 3 number 1 wide receivers.
We have the money.
Field.
We definitely have the money to do it, too.
We have the money to do it. What team has 3 corners or 3 defensive backs in general that could match up one-on-one with those 3 guys? And you have Njoku going up the seam or perhaps doing some out routes. You have Duke or perhaps Saquon Barkley coming out of the backfield. You almost don't have to worry so much about a quarterback at that point.
You just need to get a guy who gets the job done.
You want a guy that gets the job done that may or may not be DeShone Kizer, but with that many weapons, it's kind of hard to go another winless season.
It's for sure hard to, if you have that kind of weapons, it is definitely hard to not win games in this league, especially because, I mean, honestly, some games you could just, the ball falls the right way, you get the ball on a fumble, whatever it may be, the ball goes the right way and, you do get a win. So hopefully we do see some active Cleveland Browns going out there and actually getting some people to join this team in the free agent market, whether it be via trade or, just a regular signing. But that is it for today's show. We do hope that you guys do catch Ross's Rant. The second show was dropped today, and we do hope that you guys continue to catch our shows. Like always, we are going to be in the works of creating our Twitter account, so that way you guys can go ahead and give us some feedback on Twitter. But follow our Instagram. We do post stuff off of our Instagram, depending on what it may be, either the shows we do post or we do post scores from either the spring training games, the Cavs, whatever it may be. Foisey is in the works of doing that right now. I know he is caught up in some work around the house and shit like that, but he will be getting to that. So make sure you guys do go ahead and check out some of our other stuff. Like always, watch some of our other videos and check out Ross's Rant. Until next time, for me and Kevin. So for me and Kevin, this was the Real Sports Talk Show.
Cleveland _fans with a Z, we calling you out.